From the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, the NFHS Network brings you the LHSA All-State Sugar Bowl State Prep Finals. This evening, it's two-way action as the undefeated Kinder Yellow Jackets come in at a record of 14-0 against the Manny Tigers, who also come in as the #1 seed at 14-0 as well. Paul Boron along with Jimmy Frederick. And these two teams met in the state title game a year ago and look to do so again tonight. And what's it going to take for it to be a different result?
Well, it's going to be a very interesting ball game. Both of these two teams are very much run-oriented team. We start off with the keys to the game for Kinder. One of them is Ride the Rider Boys. Two guys in the backfield that are not related, but they have run for a lot of yards for Kinder. Zach Ryder has run for over 1,000 yards, and so has Jared. So they spread things out a little bit. They run a flex bone offense, and we'll talk about that as we go along. And of course, Kinder has to play assignment football because Manny plays that wing T tendency offense, which means a lot of misdirection and things like that. Now for the Manny Tigers, it's going to be let Garrett Thomas lead. He's the commitment to Texas, and he plays that right guard. He's 6'6", 315 pounds. And Diaz, Xavier Diaz, the quarterback and also the safety for this Manny football team, was the MVP last year. He needs to have his second MVP performance for Manny to repeat here as the champions. And it was quite a ball game last year.
34-20 was the final as Kinder beat Manny, but as you spoke to with Manny coach Jess Curtis, it was really closer than the score indicated.
Absolutely. It came down to the last 2 minutes, and Manny had a 20-18 lead going into the last 2 minutes of the ball game. Kinder comes away with a score offensively to take the lead, and then an interception of pick six, and that's how it became 32-20. Now, the reason Xavier was the MVP last year, by the way, is because he was the Manny MVP.
This kickoff is fielded and stepping out of bounds. A little bit of a mistake there by Corellius Smart as he tried to field the football and stepped out of bounds at the 13-yard line. The starters for the Manny Tiger offense look like this. Up front, Garrett Thomas, Jonathan Miller, Tyler Colston, Cedarius Sweet, and Hunter Dubois. Quarterback is Xavier Diaz. His receivers are Isaiah Smith and Tiberius Garner. His tight end is Quan Williams, and behind him, James Carhey and Kentrell Maxey. To look at the Kinder defense now up front, Colin Williams, Isaiah Sanders, Sammy Bruckhouse, and Robert Bruckhouse. They use just two linebackers, Bryce Baker and Don Charles Arsenault. The corners are Greg Mayfield Jr. and Jared Ryder. And the safeties, Wallace Burns, Zach Ryder, and Nicholas Boudreau. And the first play for Manny is a gain of 9 yards, so a good start for Manny. And carrying the football there is
Kentrell Maxey.
Well,
and they have four guys that are interchangeable for the Tigers. You got Maxey, Carhey, Gozy, and Carter. Three of those guys have over 1,000 yards, and then you've got Xavier Diaz, who's got almost 800 yards.
That's unbelievable.
Excuse me, 400. He's got 800 yards passing and 417 yards rushing does Diaz.
Diaz will hand it off, and burrowing his way up for a nice gain. There's Maxey again.
Manny scores a lot of points. They're averaging 42 points a ball game. They're averaging almost 400 yards offense per game as well, and that's almost exclusively on the ground. And then you throw in A.J. Carter, who's a freshman, and according to Coach Jess Curtis, he's the next Xavier Diaz. Diaz has committed to UL to play safety, so he's a special athlete.
Here's a toss sweep, and that's going nowhere as Gosi is tackled in the backfield. Nice penetration by that Kinder defense.
Colin Williams that time, the defensive end, really got some good penetration.
Goes in and undercuts him, and that's a loss of 2. It'll be 2nd and 12 for the Manny Tigers under head coach Jess Curtis.
Boy, Jess Curtis has got a great story. He has been a Manny Tiger from the time he was born, I think. He played in the Dome in 1988 as a senior for the Manny Tigers.
Diaz, inside handoff to Maxey. Maxey keeping the legs going, but he is swallowed up after a gain of 2 out to the 31-yard line. And that was Colin Williams again in on the tackle for Kinder, and it'll bring up a 3rd and 10 for the Tigers.
Kinder defensively is a high-pressure defense. They like to come off the ball. They're going to put pressure, get penetration. In fact, sometimes they're very comfortable being a man football team in terms of on the outside. They have the athletes that can play, but their job, they'll sometimes go zero coverage even on spread and try to get pressure on the quarterback.
Diaz will drop back to throw. Has nowhere to go, and he slips and falls. He had pressure from Zach Ryder in his face, but as he went to turn the corner, he just blew a tire and is down for a loss, and Manny's going to have to punt the football.
Well, this field turf type surface that they play on here in the Superdome can be deceptively slippery. Of course, there's no moisture in the air, and it's not wet. It's just simply sometimes it's slick, and you lose your footing a little bit.
Diaz is back to punt. Greg Mayfield Jr. back to receive. He's down at the 42-yard line. Late guy coming onto the field for Kinder. Mayfield fields at his 38, and he's going to be dropped at the 38. Excellent downfield coverage by Kevin Gosey. Also, Cornelius Smart down there as well. So let's look at the Kinder starting offensive lineup. It looks like this. Up front, Robert Brockhouse, Benjamin LaBeouf, Colby Oliver, Casey Edwards, and Josh Moorhead. The quarterback is Wells Cooley. His slot backs are Jared Ryder and Zach Ryder, no relation. Greg Mayfield Jr. is the wide receiver. Trevin Chaney is the tight end. And the fullback is Taylor Johnson. Johnson has gone for 1,700 yards this year. Looking at the Manny defense, they will line up this way. Robert Perry, Jamarius Newton, and Tristan Williams up front. The linebackers, Jamara Holmes, Pepe Kennedy, and Curtis Woolard. The corners, Cornelius Smart and Alan Warfield. And the safeties, Chris Evans, Xavier Diaz, and Marcus Wiseman. That was an 8-yard gain on first down. Inside handoff to Johnson, and that's going to be enough for a first down as he gets out to midfield. Kind of went through Johnson's numbers quickly, but 1,700 yards on the ground this season and 27 touchdowns.
This is a flex bone offense. It's a variation of the old wishbone. You'll see Georgia Tech run it. You see Navy run this. It's a triple option threat where you have, of course, the fullback, which is the dive back, and then the quarterback, Cooley, who is a first-year quarterback, can either hand it off to either of the Ryder boys, Zach or Jared. They're no relation that we know of.
Inside handoff to Johnson for a gain of 3 yards.
I say that we know of, neither did the coach, so it wasn't like we're just guessing that they're not related. Well, Brett Fuselier in his second year. He spent 5 years at Iota.
Again, these two met a year ago, and it was Kinder that came out on top. But Manny is the 1 seed this year. 2nd and 7. Inside handoff to Johnson again. And he will get down to about the 44-yard line now, bring up a 3rd and 3.
The strength of this Manny Tiger defense, it's a 3-3 stack basically, but they're going to let Xavier Diaz do whatever he wants basically. He had 26 tackles in last year's game, which is a dome record for the classification, and that's why he was last year's MVP for Manny. Even though they didn't win the championship, there's an MVP for each team, and Diaz was that MVP last year for Manny.
Cooley looks over the line of scrimmage, barking out the protections on a 3rd and 3. And this is going to be enough for a first down as Johnson dives forward again.
Just a little reach handoff, and it's Taylor Johnson.
So a good opening drive here for Kinder.
And also, Coach Fuselier mentioned that, every night it seemed like it was a different back who came through and had big games. In the semifinal game, it was Zach. Jared had a great run in the regional round. And, of course, Taylor Johnson's just been a workhorse all year long. But that's the kind of stuff they expect.
There is that workhorse again, diving ahead for 5, almost 6 yards. So Johnson featured heavily in this offense all season long and being featured quite a bit here early in the season.
And he's only a sophomore. 5'9", 195-pound sophomore is Johnson.
2nd and 6.
So, somebody I want you to watch on the line of scrimmage. Number 58, Casey Edwards. He's 6'3", 280 pounds. He's a senior. Has some schools looking at him, but he's an old school type football lineman. He takes pride in his blocking. We'll talk a lot about him tonight.
Cooley hands to Johnson. Big hole for Johnson. And he will dive forward close to the first down. Looks like he'll be a hair short of the first down. Going to bring up a 3rd down for Kinder.
That was a great cut right off the tailbone of Colby Oliver, the sophomore center. Benjamin LeBluff with a kick-out block seals it. Right now, they are being able to handle the size of Robert Perry, the defensive end at 255, and Jamarius Newton at 335 in the center of the defense for Manning.
Johnson again, and that pile's going to fall forward, and that's going to be another first down, another gain of 5. Taylor Johnson.
10th play of the drive, and I'm not exactly sure how many have gone to Johnson, but I think it's 8.
I believe it is 8. So, and Manny wants to regroup here because right now Taylor Johnson is running it right down their throats, literally. With this this belly run right up the middle. And great push. Again, we'll mention those offensive linemen again. Robert Brockhouse, Benjamin LeBeouf, Colby Oliver, Casey Edwards, and Josh Moorhead. They are getting a great push up front, even though they're not the biggest offensive line. I mean, I'm talking a 165 and a 180 guy mixed in there. So not the biggest line, but they're getting the push right now.
And they are. And talking about Casey Edwards, he's only 17 years old, so he's a young senior. And he is definitely going to be playing somewhere next year. Just not sure where. But, you know, Coach said he didn't come in with all the physical talents that a lot of football players have. But when he was a freshman, he committed himself to being all that he could be in the weight room and in every way he can. And he said this coaching staff uses him as a model of what they wish if they could have as many of those Casey Edwards as they possibly could.
Tell you, Manny wanted that timeout to kind of regroup, but the flip side of that is they just gave Taylor Johnson a chance to catch his breath because he's going to get the football again. This time only a couple yards.
Well, you know, we haven't seen the triple option yet. It's just been one option. It's Taylor Johnson. But this flex bone has some unique opportunities in terms of you have to respect the pass because at any moment you can send your slot guys, the guys that are lined up like wingbacks, down the field in pass formation, pass routes. So you have to somewhat respect the possibility that Kinder could throw the football. Not that they've shown any hint of that yet.
Mayfield and Arsenault are at the top of the formation, but it's handed again to Johnson. And Johnson falls forward for another 3 yards. It'll bring up 3rd and about 4.
3 yards in a cloud of dust is all they're looking for. Now it's going to have to be 5 yards in a cloud of dust.
This pace, this game's going to be played in an hour and a half.
Man, you better find some wood. Announcer's jinx. Way to go, man.
I'm just saying, we're already at 3:45 in the first quarter.
Well, we know we had a quick first quarter last game, too. I mean, 2 running teams with Haynesville and Mangum.
Third and 4, sorry.
No.
As the Manny fans come to their feet. Inside handoff to Johnson again. This time he's stuffed. He's going to be well short of the first down. He may have gotten a yard, but a good push up front by that Manny defense.
And the one thing that Coach Fuselier says is he doesn't really have a lot of, not that I have a lot of confidence in his field goal kicker. It's just that they haven't had the opportunity to kick a lot of field goals.
So they will go for it rather than opt for the 38-yard field goal. And so we'll see a 4th and 4. Oh, all sorts of movement.
Got him.
Let's see if
The old sucker punch.
let's see who moved first. Because Manny was definitely in the neutral zone, but had the right tackle and right guard, Edwards and Moorhead, moved first. That is the discussion.
The old hard snap count, and a good job for
with
Cooley.
our officiating crew.
Yes, James Ratcliffe from Metairie is our referee. Our umpire is Craig Fosh. Wow, they called it against Kinder. So it'll back him up 5 yards. Really quickly, head linesman is Clinton Terry, line judge Patrick Irwin, back judge is Richie Shea, our side judge Sherrod Riley, field judge Lindsey Smith, game clock is Jake Bywater, play clock is Scott Baudet, and the crewmaster is, or the alternate is Keith Gervais, and they're from the Greater New Orleans Officials Association. So we appreciate them and congratulate them for making it to this state championship game.
So the ball backs up to the 24-yard line, and will bring up a 4th and 9. And timeout will be called by Brett Fuselier prior to that play, and we'll see if Wells Cooley gets a chance to throw the football here on 4th and 9. Good drive by Kinder, but kind of like what we saw with Mangum, getting down to a certain point,
right,
getting stopped, committing a penalty and backing up a little bit. We'll see if, unlike Mangum, they can overcome that here on 4th down and 9.
Well, they certainly don't want to follow suit with Mangum and put it in the end zone and have it called back.
Yeah, that's
on penalties twice.
That
which
is
what
for
happened
sure.
To the Dragons.
Again, if you weren't with us earlier, Haynesville wins 16-0 in the 1A final. James Jackson, the MVP, or most outstanding player. And so Haynesville won back-to-back state titles with a 16-0 win. Kinder going for back-to-back state titles here. And they face a 4th and 9. Wells Cooley under center. And he'll drop back to throw, going up top. Has a man, and it's caught for the touchdown. Excellent jumping play by Don Charles Arsenault as Cooley throws it up, and Arsenault comes down with it. And the first score of the game is a 24-yard strike for Kinder.
Well, they don't throw it often, and that is a difficult pass to make and throw when you don't throw the ball very much. That little fade route into the corner throws it up short, but the receiver does a tremendous job with Mayfield coming back to the football. Well done for both of them.
So Cooley to Arsenault.
Arsenault.
26-yard touchdown, and the extra point from Danny Hernandez, and Kinder draws first blood with an impressive drive. Cooley to Arsenault, 24 yards, and it's 7-0 Kinder, but what an impressive drive, and obviously most of it on the shoulders of Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, you know, you feel bad for Johnson because he doesn't get to finish it out, but I don't think he's going to mind too much when he puts the ball in the end zone like Wells Cooley. And that was a good timeout called to regroup his guys for Fuselier. Settle them down, say, okay, guys, we made a little mistake here. Let's regroup. Let's do something that they may not be expecting as well. It wasn't bad coverage, and Arsenault did a phenomenal job of making an adjustment as he goes up for the football, comes back to it, and then when he lands, smartly steps inside and into the end zone. That was a 14-play drive, by the way.
Impressive. And Hernandez will now kick off. Diaz is the deep man. Not going to get to him. And they fake to Diaz, and then a reverse. Mayfield drops the football, or excuse me, Cozy dropped the football when they tried to do the reverse. Smart tried to hand it to him, and they just botched that all around.
Yeah.
So Trying to mix things up with the three receivers back there and a little misdirection back there, but Cozy just didn't really watch the handoff into his belly and was looking upfield and saw the pressure coming. We'll see what Manny can do on their second drive. Inside handoff to Maxey, and Maxey's going to get about 3 yards.
Maxey leads the team in rushing with 169 carries. That's a lot of carries. And you think about Carhey has 152 carries, and then Gozy has 131 carries. That's a lot of running plays.
Yet somehow they found a way to throw it 94 times this season. Wouldn't seem there's been enough footballs to go around.
I tell you.
Diaz will hand it off. Bouncing outside is Carhey, and Carhey to the 35. And that's going to be a first down for the Tigers. James Carhey, the 163-pound junior, gets Manny the first down.
Good blocking on the outside, and it was just a whiff from Greg Mayfield, I believe, or maybe it was Jared Ryder missed that play.
Big first down play for the Tigers as they will line up 1st and 10 at the 35-yard line. And this will go for about 3 yards. That was Carhey again. And I know it's early, and this certainly could change, but I love the sportsmanship between these two teams. I see guys helping each other up, not just their own teammates, but two of the Kinder guys just helped Carhey up. So we don't see a lot of that in high school.
No, you don't see a lot of that, and these guys are old hats at playing each other, and especially last year in the championship game. Manny up just north of Natchitoches in that Sabine Parish basketball mecca, and now they're making a name for themselves in football.
Inside handoff, and that's going to go about a yard short of the first down.
Robert Bruckhouse in on the stop.
That was Maxey on the carry.
Isaiah Sanders, 6'1", 325. He's a senior. He's an interior defensive lineman. And his job is to clog that hole. He doesn't have to make the plays. He doesn't have to make the tackles. What his job is to do is to separate the offensive line and let the linebackers come in and make the plays. And Zach Ryder, as the rover back, has got to make some plays as well.
Inside handoff to Gosi, and Gosi is going to get about 5 yards, Carhey, about 5 yards there and a first down for Manning. And that's probably going to be the final play of the first quarter.
Good run that time by Gosi. He had contact initially and was able to break 2 tackles before being brought down, and that does it for quarter number 1.
So Kinder scores on their opening drive. Heavy running by Taylor Johnson, and ended up on a 4th down conversion as Wells Cooley found Don Charles Arsenault on a 24-yard touchdown. Kinder leads it 7-0 after 1 quarter of play. Manny set to take the field with a 1st and 10, now moving right to left. Looking for the equalizer after Kinder took the 7-0 lead at the end of 1. Diaz toss sweep to Carhey, and Carhey gets tripped up in the backfield, manages to fall forward for a couple yards, But a good job by Zach Ryder getting into the backfield and making the shoestring tackle to trip up Carhey.
Well, that's the guy we just talked about, the rover spot. He's not technically a linebacker, and in fact, Coach Fuselier said that we're never going to consider him a linebacker, but he's going to be all over the place.
Diaz going up and down the line.
Now Ryder's on the outside.
Quick inside handoff. That one went to Maxey, and Maxey maybe gets a yard.
Isaiah Sanders that time, 325-pounder, did more than just separate an offensive lineman and let his linebackers get in there. He made the tackle, or at least part of it.
Bring up a 3rd and 7 for the Tigers. Diaz hands it off. This is Carhey. Carhey gets 3 or 4 yards for being brought down by Robert Brookhouse and Bryce Baker. And 4th and 5 for Manny, and they are going to punt the football.
Well, their second possession and their second punt.
Diaz back to punt. Mayfield Jr. will go back to his 15-yard line to receive this punt.
Coach Fuselier said that, Coach Curtis said that Diaz can get a hold of one. He can really boom it.
Good high kick here, and Mayfield's going to call for a fair catch, fielding it at the 19-yard line. So good kick by Diaz, and Mayfield forced to call a fair catch, which we rarely see kicks high enough, and generally kids are pretty fearless, but you don't see the fair catch very often in high school.
Yeah, punting is an erratic thing in high school, is it not?
That's for sure. That's for sure.
I guess unless you have Brad Wing on your team like Parkview did a few years
That's
ago.
right.
Or Donnie Jones at Catholic High for a while. Now punting in the pros.
So Kinder's second possession after an excellent first possession, and they'll go right back to Taylor Johnson. This time he's going nowhere. Good push up the middle by Manny, and getting the tackle was number 85, Marcus Wiseman, the safety.
An odd number for a safety, isn't
it?
They've probed the interior of the line a lot, and they've utilized the defense of Manny has stiffened on the inside. Now they're going to probably watch them go to the option a little bit on the outside and see if they can catch them looking for the interior dive.
Boy, Johnson just gets absolutely blown up just as he got the football. Robert Perry was there to meet him almost as he took the handoff. That could have been disastrous. Luckily, Johnson able to hold on to it as he got hammered by Perry.
3rd and 10, it's a totally different situation here on this drive than that first drive as they marched down the field in 14 plays and ended up with that 24-yard pass. But
3rd and 10, let's see if they throw the football. They will. Cooley rolling left. Gets his shoulders square, going deep downfield, and it is intercepted. Picked off by Alan Warfield. And Warfield is fired up. That's, from Kinder's perspective, probably as good as a punt. As he tried to go up top, and Warfield was there in great coverage to intercept the football.
Tough pass, right-handed quarterback, rolling to his left, throwing down the field on the run. He did get his shoulders square, but that's a lot to ask of a high school quarterback who is not a passing quarterback.
Right. Manny's 3rd possession now. Diaz inside handoff, and look at Maxey running over people. And comes up pumping his fist. He is fired up after a 5-yard gain, but a lot of physicality in those 5 yards.
Hit the hole so very quickly. And when he did, he surprised the linebacker. And the linebacker, again, I hate to use the analogy, looked like a Texas A&M linebacker, flat on his back.
2nd and 5. Carhee will get a couple yards before being pushed back. Zach Ryder and a host of Yellow Jackets there. A swarm.
Swarm, yeah, I was about to say, you know, come
go.
on. Bryce Baker in there as well. We've called his name a couple of times.
3rd and about 3, almost 4 yards.
You know, sometimes it looks like the running back's going to get past that second line of defense, and all of a sudden it seems like somebody grabs them from behind and just yanks them down. And it's really interesting. Their legs almost go out from under them.
Diaz hands it off. And Maxey is going to, well, it depends on the spot. Tell you what, the far side official definitely is marking it short, and I think this is going to be just short. Probably going to have to bring the sticks out, I would think.
Yeah, I think they got it.
Well, I'll be the dissenter. You and Travis Hose both say it's a first down. I'm going to say it's short.
Pig's whisker, my friend, pig's whisker. Usually when they bring the change, it's all the way on this sideline, away from the chain. At least this is the way they're halfway into the field.
Well, let's see.
And the moment of truth. They got it. Oh, it's so close. Did he get it? Yes, sir.
Literally by
a pig
an
whisker.
inch.
I mean, you don't get to this position in life without knowing a few things.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Tigers at the 46-yard line. I can admit I was wrong. Here's the handoff to Carhee, and he gets outside. He slips just a bit, but manages to maintain his footing and gets 7 yards.
If he doesn't slip, he gets creamed because he stopped on a dime, and I think the cornerback was going to level him. He slipped just in time, and the defender flew by him.
Yeah, just kind of a glancing blow instead of that full-on contact that was sure to come. Second and 4. Obviously, this is a run-first team, but this is kind of down in distance where they could run a little play action or something and could end up hitting a big play. But instead, they go the toss sweep. Maxey gets a couple yards before being brought down by Bruckhouse again. Also, Don Charles Arsenault, the guy who caught the touchdown, is also a linebacker and got in on the tackle.
Well, getting good penetration is the defense, and they almost disrupted the pitch because it was not the best toss that Diaz has ever thrown for sure, but they're still getting some good penetration and staying at home, and that was one of the things that they had to do is make sure that they stay home, play gap sound, and the Kinder defense is doing a fairly good job of it.
Here's Carhee with a big hole, and Carhee to the 30, 25, and all the way down to the 23-yard line. First down for the Tigers.
Wallace Burns, the senior, chased him down from behind. He's got some wheels on him. What a great run this time for Carhee. And Carhee stutter steps, and then all of a sudden you see right there on the replay, out of nowhere, Wallace Burns levels him from behind. Great run for Carhee, though.
1st and 10 at the 23-yard line as the Tigers looking to tie this football game up.
The Manny Tigers in regional round action scored 73 points against Homer.
Here is a play fake, and Diaz going downfield, has a man wide open. Touchdown. Kevin Gosey.
24 yards, 23 yards.
Isaiah Smith, excuse me. Isaiah Smith. So beautiful play action. I called for it a little earlier on the drive, but the way they were running the football, a perfect opportunity to go to the play action, and Isaiah Smith was by himself.
Well, you know, they've got a little bit of an inherently built-in timing because these two are brothers. Isaiah Smith and Xavier Diaz are brothers, and so they've been throwing passes to each other for a long time, and that was absolutely perfectly executed. And as you said, you called for it early, and they finally listened. And they just set that play up perfectly.
Now going for two as Diaz rolls right. Now looking to get away, and now he's going to go for the corner. He's got a man wide open. And it is caught.
The athleticism of Diaz and the patience of the offensive line to stay where they were supposed to be and not expect Diaz to run it, which I kind of did.
Yeah, I thought he could have gotten to the pylon. Instead, he finds Brant Hebert standing by himself. In the good job by Hebert as we see the replay, getting himself into some open space and putting the arms up saying, hey, I'm right here.
And they take the lead on the two-point conversion, 8-7 with 5:39 to go here in the half. So 2 24-yard passes, and there's our touchdowns, one for each team, from two teams that don't throw the ball.
Right.
And they were absolutely beautiful to watch.
Well, it kind of goes back to your point in the first game of even if you are a run-heavy team, got to mix in the pass just a little bit. You talked about Mangum didn't do it enough till it was late. You know, you got to have that threat of it in there, and now both these teams and the defensive coordinators have some things to think about. They can't just crowd the line of scrimmage and try and take away the run. Jared Ryder and Greg Mayfield back to receive the kick from Pepe Kennedy, and this is a short kick. It's going to be fielded and then fumbled out of bounds. Out of bounds at the 42-yard line, but that was Leonard Williams that fielded the short kick, and luckily for him, he was near the sideline because the only other person or people that could have recovered that football had it stayed in bounds were Manny Tigers. So Kinder down 8-7 will take over at their 43-yard line with 5:35 to play. Inside handoff, and that's going to be a gain of about 7 or 8 yards. Taylor Johnson getting a breather, and that's Jordan Vickers. So Jordan Vickers with a 10-yard carry and a first down.
It's all starting with the offensive line, and they're running behind Casey Edwards and Colby Oliver, the sophomore center, and Edwards, the senior guard. Heck, we haven't even mentioned the fact that Manny Tigers have a Texas commit, Garrett Thomas, on their offensive line.
So Vickers in the backfield.
Still haven't seen that triple option yet.
And timeout called by the Manny Tigers. That's their second timeout. Coach Curtis calls for time. Looking across the way, I see Taylor Johnson. It doesn't appear he's injured or anything, just getting a breather, I think.
Can't blame him.
5:05 to play. Of course, the rest of the state finals will be contested tomorrow here. Noon, 3:30, and 7 o'clock tomorrow. 3A, 4A, and 5A. Tigers defense back out on the field as Kinder will take over or continue this drive, 1st and 10 at the 47-yard line after the Vickers 10-yard run. Vickers remains in the backfield. Vickers fumbled the football, but they are able to recover. Vickers was hit just as he took the handoff, right on the elbow, it looked like.
Man, let me tell you something. Zach Ryder, number 44, downfield, just pancakes one of the safeties. Just laid him out, and I was amazed by Zach Ryder's ferocity on that block.
Ryder in motion. He'll take this handoff, turns the corner, and will get down to the 37, 38-yard line. It's going to be just short of the first down. Ryder not only took the handoff, but if we get a look at it on the replay, as he turned the corner, he had to readjust his helmet mid-run. I don't know if the face mask got tugged on or something, but he was adjusting it as he turned the corner. We'll bring up a 3rd and 1 for Kinder, as we dip under 4 minutes to play in the first half.
Well, you know, we've had 2 North Louisiana, Mid Louisiana teams. Tomorrow, 3A is going to be more South Louisiana, Livonia, and a meet.
Vickers is going to push the pile forward and have just enough for a first down. Gets about 1.5 yards. Vickers, a 5'9", 210-pound senior. And that's going to, he's done a nice job, as Taylor Johnson will come back into the game. But Vickers, getting high fives from the coaching staff, did a nice job spelling Johnson.
4A is Neville and Warren Easton. And 5A, the Acadiana Wrecking Rams and Ted Davidson will be taking on Destrehan.
Inside handoff to Johnson, and Johnson's going to get 1 yard or 2. I believe, we can look it up. I believe Acadiana was a lot of people say a perplexing 15 seed. I have to see if that's correct. Yeah, 15 seed. So I know a couple weeks ago they knocked off Ponchatoula, and that was considered an upset.
Right.
But I talked to Hank Tierney a couple weeks ago, and he said, we don't know why they were seeded 15. They were not a 15 seed, and they've proven it as they've gotten to the state finals. Again.
They've been there an awful lot over the years.
Johnson up the middle, but not getting much room to run there.
Well, I'm still wondering, they've only run 1 play to the outside in the last 3 drives, and that was Ryder. And he was able to pick up 8 or 9 yards. So I expect they're going to start probing the outside a little bit more, as this interior of the defense for Manny has really closed up on him.
Tristan Williams, the senior defensive end, in on the tackle there. And bring up a 3rd and 8 for the Yellow Jackets with 2 minutes to play in the half. Jet sweep handoff.
Another big block by Ryder.
And it's going to get about 5 yards. That is Bryce Baker taking the handoff. And we'll bring up a 4th and about 4.
Zach Ryder has had 2 huge blocks on this drive. It didn't spring the play, but man, was it effective. And the cornerback is going to remember that for a little bit.
So Mayfield will come to the near side. Arsenault up top on a 4th down. Cooley back to throw. Had Arsenault, but overshot him. Arsenault would have had to have been about 8 feet tall to come up with that one. And so Kinder will turn it over on downs. Manny with just 1 timeout and 1:09 to play in the half.
This has been a good half of football. We've seen good running, we've seen good defense, and we've seen a couple of good throws.
Pair of 24-yard strikes. That has been the difference.
1 for each team on the same side of the field, which I thought was fun. The little things you notice.
Diaz will go out of the shotgun here. Takes the low snap, rolls left, throwing downfield. Oh, he overshot his receiver, and Mayfield, if he picks it off, is going all the way to the house. Penalty marker down. Let's see if there was a hold in the backfield or a late hit on Diaz.
Yeah, I looked away from Diaz.
It is a late hit, roughing the quarterback. So
that's big.
And Diaz is hunched over a little bit over here on the Manny sideline. So even if Mayfield had picked that off, it would have been overturned. But boy, a dangerous throw, and Mayfield would have had nothing but green field turf in front of him.
I know his eyes got big.
But instead, it'll be a first down for Manny now at the 45-yard line with 64 seconds left. Plenty of time to try and get in position. Again, they're not overly confident in the kicking game, so we don't know if they would try a field goal. It probably depends on where they get to. But Diaz out of the shotgun. And he'll hand it off to Maxey, and Maxey diving forward, and he's going to have, well, he's just short of the first down. It depends on who we look at here. It is enough for a first down. The official on the far side had marked it a bit short, but the near side official says it's enough for a first down. The clock stops with 58 seconds.
Warren Pelican, 6'3", 210-pound senior, chased him down from behind that time.
Diaz bobbles the snap, stepping up. He's going to run. Diaz has room to run and gets all the way to the 33-yard line. That's going to be enough for another Manny first down.
Man, I got to tell you, the speed of Warren Pelican chasing him down is tremendous. That's the second play in a row that he's made from behind. And that saves an even bigger play that Diaz had an opportunity to pick up a few more yards without Pelican chasing him down.
Under 40 seconds, not a lot of urgency here, and now a penalty marker. I think Diaz is shaken up. I think he just went down to one knee, and he kind of seemed a little out of it there. I don't know if he took a shot at the end of that, but he certainly didn't seem to have a lot of urgency at the line, and kind of, after the flag was thrown, kind of went down to one knee.
Well, he was definitely hit hard from behind, and when you get that jolt, that whiplash kind of effect to your head and neck, it can disorient you a little bit.
Diaz rolling left, gets a nice blindside block.
Boy, sure did.
And throwing downfield and incomplete, looking for Cornelius Smart.
Nicholas Boudreau knocks it away.
And again, Diaz just kind of hunched over on the near side here.
He just needs to make it another 17 seconds.
Get some water, and again, the Tigers do have one timeout, so if they get some sort of big play over the middle here, they could stop the clock. All right, Diaz hunched over again as he was looking over for the play call, so something not quite right with Diaz. He may just be exhausted. Quick throw there, and that looks pretty good as he hits Isaiah Smith, and Smith is going to go all the way. 10-5 touchdown.
That's an exact example.
But there's a penalty marker down on the far side, and Diaz threw his arms up. It's coming back.
Yeah, it's holding. What a shame. That's
an illegal motion.
Oh, my heavens. And that's the last game we saw it happen twice to Mangum, and here it is, Manny happens to them. The penalty brings the touchdown back, but you've got to wrap up. You can't try to knock them off their feet. You've got to use your arms and drive him to the ground. They had three guys that hit him and that did not bring him down, and great job for the yards after contact to continue to run and get in the end zone.
So Isaiah Smith thought he had his second touchdown of this first half. Instead, it will go all the way back to the 42-yard line. Timeout called by Manny, using their final timeout here.
Big brother to little brother. And just couldn't quite. Well.
So do you go for a quick play on the sideline, or are we setting up a Hail Mary here if you're Manny? I mean, there's 9 seconds. You could get a quick play, but
you have to get a quick one, I think. I don't think he can get 2 plays off. I really don't. I don't think they can. I think you just got to throw a seam route, just let him go and throw it up, and whatever happens, happens. But don't wait for them to get in the end zone. You got to throw it in stride and let him run into the end zone. In the way I would set it up. So just listen to me, you'll be fine. That's pretty much what you do. I understand.
That's my rule in life.
Look where it's gotten you. NFHS Network.
To the 42-yard line. It'll be a 2nd and 20. And we'll see if Coach Curtis goes for something quick or something to the end zone.
I'm pretty sure it's not going to be an interior run.
Diaz has 2 receivers to the top of the formation. And it's going to be a reverse run, and this is going nowhere. Good pursuit. And
that's Pelican again.
A tackle by Pelican. And that's going to do it for the first half.
I didn't say it wasn't going to be a run. I said it wasn't going to be an interior run.
Yeah, no. It's good to quantify things. So that A.J. Carter run will bring the first half to an end. And it's been an interesting first half. Kinder gets the early lead on a Cooley to Arsenault 24-yard touchdown. Manny answers with a Diaz to Isaiah Smith 24-yard touchdown. They get the 2-point conversion, and we are at half. The number 1 seed, Manny Tigers, lead the Kinder Yellow Jackets 8-7. You are watching the All-State Sugar Bowl LHSA State Prep Final in Class 2A on the NFHS Network.
Please welcome Our next recipient is a participant in tonight's game from Many High School, Hunter Dubois.
We welcome you back inside the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, where we're at halftime of the State 2A Final, the All-State Sugar Bowl State Prep Finals here on the NFHS Network. Paul Boron along with Jimmy Frederick. And an interesting first half, even though only 15 points were scored. Saw some power running, saw some play actions, and as it turns out, it's an 8-7 Manny lead here at the half.
Again, that penalty killed Manny for that second touchdown, but nonetheless, both teams have played exceptional defense except for a few, well, just some missed coverages just because they're not used to maybe covering as well as they should. But the interior of the line for Manny has definitely tightened up. Kinder's going to have to probe the outside if they're going to make some headway, I think, running the football in the second half. And I think Manny has mixed it up in terms of inside-outside game. So it's just going to be a matter of who can control the line of scrimmage. If you're an offensive line, you've got to get pushed to the second level. And, of course, if you're the defensive line, you've got to get some penetration. And I think Kinder has done a very good job of that against Manny.
Kinder will get the ball first to start the second half. Quick look at some halftime statistics. Total offense-wise, Manny 148 to Kinder's 94. Both teams even on the passing numbers, just the one touchdown pass each. Rushing-wise, Manny 125 yards to Kinder's 70. Kinder led by Taylor Johnson's 45 yards. Manny had James Carhey with 63 and Kentrell Maxey with 53 yards. Defensively, Zach Ryder, 3.5 tackles. Pelicans got 3 tackles, and on Manny's side of the ball, Robert Prairie having a huge game. He's already got 5 tackles in this football game. And so we are set to go with the second half. And a high bounce, kind of looking like an onside kick almost, and recovered or handled by the up man. That was Quan Williams that handles it, and Kinder will take over first down right at midfield. Nice job by Quan Williams to get up and secure it. 6 foot, 175-pound sophomore.
Interesting play to start the second half. I'm not sure if it was an onside kick, it was supposed to hit and bounce up, and it didn't do that. I don't believe it kicked it straight up into the air. And of course, you know, we saw that in a college game that wasn't, I want to say it was the Iron Bowl or the Egg Bowl, one of them, where the ball was kicked high. You have to allow, it didn't happen here, but you have to allow the receiver to catch it. You can't hit him and then take the ball like you can after it hits the ground.
Broken play here, and Cooley is going to have to keep it himself, and did a good job to get 2 or 3 yards. He turned around to hand it off, and, well, there was no one back there to hand off to.
The offensive line has played very well for Kinder. You know, one of the things that they preach every single day at practice is something they call calm. It's come off the ball, boy, and that's all they say. It's about hitting somebody, and they don't do a lot of zone blocking. In fact, they don't do any zone blocking. It's man-to-man, down blocking. Find somebody to hit, whether it's a defensive lineman, a linebacker, or whoever is lined up straight up.
Here's Taylor Johnson, and he'll fall forward to about the 44-yard line. It'll bring up a 3rd and 5 for Kinder. And Johnson, the lead rusher for Kinder in the first half with 45 yards. And he was featured prominently on the touchdown drive.
And then finished off by that nice pass from Wells Cooley to Arsenault. That was a 14-play drive on that first run.
3rd and 4, and then this ball's handed off, and breaking one tackle, and now he may go. Gage Leach all the way down to the 18-yard line. So Leach, first time we have called his name today, and the sophomore brings it all the way down to the 18-yard line. Oh, I'm sorry, Jared Ryder. Had my rosters in the wrong positions. So Jared Ryder on the big run. Inside handoff to Taylor Johnson, breaking a tackle, and Johnson is all the way down to the 5-yard line.
Well, that's what they needed to do. They needed to get Johnson to the outside. And as soon as they start getting Jared Ryder and Zach Ryder involved in the running game, which they have not been much tonight, it's going to open things up for Taylor Johnson to take it off tackle. And that's what they did on that play. A nice tackle that time as well from behind by the Manny Tigers.
1st and goal at the 5. Here's the give to Johnson again, and he is going to be hammered. Diaz coming up from his safety position, and he lowers the boom on Johnson there.
Diaz had 26 tackles last year in this game. Has not
Incredible.
had that many here tonight, obviously, but he's been all over the place. And you wondered if he was a little bit hurt at the end of the first half. I don't think he is.
Yeah,
I think he's
got a chance to get some fluids and a breather, and he's good to go now. Johnson again, keeping the legs moving, and gets down to about the 3-yard line, maybe to the 2. To bring up a 3rd and goal for the Yellow Jackets.
Perry, Newton, and Williams, the 3 down linemen for the Tigers, doing a good job clogging things up. But you'll notice that they've moved their linebackers up almost to the line of scrimmage. They're basically a yard off. And they line them up, and they've done that for most of this entire drive. And they're going to fill up the box, and let's just pound it through.
Johnson. It's faked to him and tossed to Ryder, and Ryder's going to dive for the pylon, and he's in for the touchdown. Zach Ryder taking it in on the option. First time we've seen the true option run. They fake to Johnson on the inside, and Cooley draws the defender to him and pitches it to Ryder for the touchdown.
Nice job for Ryder to stick with the pitch. The pitch was not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. It was down around his calves and his shin. When he grabbed it, he just fought his way into the end zone. Zach Ryder, he's had some great blocks, and now he gets a touchdown to cap it off.
And they will go for 2. Keeping it himself, and Cooley is in. Late signal from the official, but the Kinder players certainly knew Cooley had gotten in, and they were fired up as Cooley just follows that big offensive line and falls into the end zone for the 2-point conversion.
6-play drive capped off by that 3-yard run. A good mix of outside and inside runs for Kinder that time. And again, if the kick works as it is designed to, maybe things aren't as bad as it turns out field position-wise, but that was a tough place to give them the ball at their at the Manny 49-yard line.
And they took advantage, marched right down the field. Of course, the big play was from Jared Ryder, got the big run all the way down inside the red zone, and then Johnson put him on a 1st and goal situation, and Zach Ryder, again unrelated, able to take it in from 2 yards out. They get the 2-point conversion from Cooley, and now they lead it 15-8. Low driving kick out of bounds. I mean, almost a direct kick out of bounds. I mean, it went out at the 40.
Yeah, I got nothing on that one.
It's just a bad kick, I think.
Yep,
Is,
that's pretty much the analysis.
So Hernandez will trot off and see if he gets a talking to from the coaches. He's got 2 coaches waiting for him as he gets to the sideline. So with the kick out of bounds, it'll be a good starting field position for Manny on their opening drive of the second half. 1st and 10 at the 35-yard line for the Tigers.
We've seen a lot of Maxey, a lot of Carhey, not as much of Gozy, but still some. Maybe see some freshmen in the second half, too.
Here is Carhey, and he is stacked up at the line of scrimmage, tried to bounce it outside, and there to meet him was Nicholas Boudreau. And Boudreau drops him for a short loss.
Well, they ran away from Garrett Thomas's side. Garrett is lined up as the right tackle. And he's the guy that's 6'6", 315 pounds. He's a senior, and he's committed to the University of Texas. And so you can't run to him every time. But that right side is stout with Jonathan Miller at 280 at the guard spot. Thomas at 315. He's a senior. And now they run to the right side.
And this is Maxey, and following his blockers, Maxey is going to have 11 yards and a first down for Manny.
And maybe you run to the right side a little bit more. Nice job on the outside, but then downfield blocking again. All four of the teams that we've seen tonight have had great downfield blocking. Everybody knows their role. They understand that no matter where you are on the field, you have to contribute. You have to make a play, regardless of what that role is. And they've done a good job blocking downfield.
Diaz turns around and says something to Maxey and Carhee behind him. They go on 1st and 10, and this is Carhee. Big hole for Carhee. He's got 10, he's got 15, and he's going to go for 20 yards. A big run for Carhee, and another first down. And suddenly, both these teams moving the ball with relative ease.
There's that wing T style that they see. A little bit of misdirection, a counter play, and it goes for a big gain. Everybody fed to the right on the blocking scheme, and the play went to the left.
1st and 10 at the 36-yard line for the Tigers, looking to tie this football game up with 8 minutes to go in the third. Diaz fakes the toss, and we're going to get a hold on the edge. So Diaz is going to have a nice gain here, but this is going to be a hold and come back.
It was as obvious as it could possibly be. And I believe it was, I think it was Jonathan Miller, number 56. But, man, it was they were do-si-do and looked like they were square dancing.
So that'll march them back 10 yards to the 46-yard line. Here is the replay, and it is Miller, and he's got the left arm completely wrapped around him and spun his defender. Could not have made it more obvious.
But, you know, that's only the second penalty against Manny tonight. So, of course, one was a big one, which
right.
negated a touchdown, and this one doesn't help. But both teams have played very cleanly tonight in terms of penalties.
1st and 20 from the 46-yard line. Fakes to Carhee. He's going to look downfield, avoid some pressure. Now he's thrown it. He's got a man wide open. It is caught for a touchdown. Tiberius Garner, a 46-yard touchdown reception. And Manny is an extra point away from tying this game, or as we have seen throughout this game, they will likely go for 2. But beautiful play fake, and then Garner was just by himself as he got behind Boudreaux for the easy score.
Great pocket presence that time for Diaz. Diaz was locked in to the left side of the field. The pocket collapsed on him. He spun back to the right, knew where the line of scrimmage was, delivered the football to a wide open receiver who had gotten behind the last line of the defense.
Diaz now saying something to Maxey before taking the snap here for the 2-point conversion. Diaz rolling left, throwing into the end zone, and it'll be intercepted. So the 2-point try fails, and it'll be 15-14.
Wow. We have ourselves a football game here for the 2A state championship. Watch this. Rolling, throwing toward the end zone, and just didn't quite get it high enough, and it's picked out of the air.
Greg Mayfield the one to pick it off there. And so it's 15-14. It's definitely been an entertaining football game. We've seen some plays being made here tonight.
Kinder needs to answer, obviously, but I think they need to kick this football about as deep as they can possibly kick it. If they can put it in the end zone, fabulous. But don't give them a short field.
And glad you're with us on the NFHS Network. Proud to be a part of the prep finals here. Of course, we had the Washita Christian victory in Division IV last Friday, and then 2 games today. So thrilled to be a part of state championships, and low driving boot here. Fielded by Ryder at the 16. Looking for somewhere to go, bouncing outside. He's got a wall of blockers. If he can turn the corner, it's Ryder. All the way out to the 47-yard line.
I guess it doesn't matter where you kick it. Good run for Ryder that time.
Just one final thought on the games being on the NFHS Network. I know I said it to Troy LaBeouf last week. You mentioned it's a reward and a thrill for the officials to be here. It's a thrill for us to be sitting here broadcasting
Absolutely.
a game in a Superdome where so many great memories have taken place between the Saints and Sugar Bowls and Prep Classics. It's an honor to be here broadcasting this, and this game looks like it could go down to the wire. Here's Johnson. First time we've seen him really go outside, and he manages to get 3 or 4 yards.
And we have had some really exceptional games that went down to the wire this year. We've been very lucky to see some great football from all classifications in the New Orleans area. And now we get to call some teams from North Louisiana and Central Louisiana.
I think my favorite game was still that Thibodeau-Hahnville game.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that was the most entertaining game, and crazy endings to that first half and the game itself.
You're not kidding. Now we had some blowouts as well.
Yeah. Inside handoff, Johnson falls forward for 4, almost 5 yards there. And it'll bring up a 3rd and about 4 or 5. Ball is marked at the 47-yard line. He's got to get actually to the 42. So 3rd and 5.
It's amazing how many times they give the ball to Johnson. I mean, he is a true workhorse.
Ryder in motion. This time Cooley's going to keep it himself. He's going to dive forward. He is very close. It's going to depend on the spot.
Didn't get it. So.
And let's see if we go for a measurement here.
Short.
Looks short from here. But we're going to get a measurement just to be sure. Now,
James Ratcliffe is going to call for the change.
Initially, I thought he had enough, but
here we go.
But now, as I see where they have spotted the football, I would agree that it is short.
Even Travis agrees with you.
Yeah.
Nothing like a little about face.
It will be short by a good 4 or 5 inches. And we'll bring up a 4th down.
Well,
and gee, I wonder if they'll just run Johnson here.
It's either Johnson or Cooley up the middle. I mean, I would just sneak it. I mean, all you have to do is literally fall forward. Maybe a little tougher than that, but not much.
Of course, if you're Cooley, the first thing you're looking across at is that nose guard, Jamaris Newton, at 6'2", 335 pounds. So you may not want to go straight forward.
You know, you got to pick a side.
That's right.
Tap Oliver on the backside and say, I'm going left or I'm going right. So block the other way. Here we go.
4th and about 5 inches.
I'm giving it to Cooley up the middle, quarterback keeper.
That is the call. He gets a push from behind from Johnson, but Cooley.
Heck, he got 3 yards, 2
Yeah.
yards.
In fact, I don't think he got as good a spot as he should have. He got all the way down to the 40-yard line, marked down at the 41.
Uh-oh.
Got a player shaken up, and that is Robert Perry, the guy we mentioned at halftime, the leading tackler for this Tigers team this evening.
Oh, goodness. I hope he's all right. Looks like he's having trouble putting a little weight on that right ankle. I think he's trying to convince him to leave and let him stay in. Look, I'm fine. Just let me stay in for us.
Well,
he's going to be all right. He'll be back in a minute.
Yep. Wouldn't be surprised to see him jogging out here after this next play.
He told them, I'm fine, I just need a second.
6:12 to play in the third. It is 15-14 Kinder. And they've got a fresh set of downs from the 41-yard line.
Play number 5 of this drive that started at their own 47-yard line after the return from Ryder.
Boy, dangerous handoff there. Surprised Johnson was able to hold on to the football as he was in the middle of getting hit by Darian Miller, number 34. Miller meeting Johnson in the backfield as the handoff was being exchanged.
Well, and that's the penetration these defenses are getting, especially against this offensive line for Kinder. They're getting worn down a little bit.
Cooley gives to Johnson. And Johnson falls forward for about 3.
They get the ball so quickly to Johnson. He's moving. He's able to accelerate almost to his top speed in about 2 or 3 steps. And it's amazing that he's able to do that as quickly as he is, because he's only a couple of yards behind the quarterback when he gets the handoff, when he gets started. So even before it's almost before the defensive line can get up and get to the line of scrimmage, he's already passed them. Now the linebackers are doing a good job of containing him on this drive. Not like he did in that first drive where he just drove him off the ball.
3rd and 7. Cooley will give to Ryder. And Ryder is going to slide forward for about 3 yards. It's going to bring up a 4th down and about 3.5. And obviously, we anticipate that they will go for it.
Good assignment football that time, because the defensive end, Tristan Williams, did his job. He's turned the play back inside to where he had help. Anytime you don't make a tackle doesn't mean you didn't do something. You did your job, which is what Williams needed to do. Turn the play back inside to where he had some help.
And as Cooley comes to the line of scrimmage, with this being a very big play, Coach Fuselier wants a timeout to discuss it with his quarterback. It'll be 4th and just under 4 yards as they get set for a big run here, or a big play here, to try and keep this drive going with under 4 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter.
I would like to see them run a true option to the wide side of the field, to the left side of the field, run to the Bruckhouse and LaBeouf side, and do the true option.
Scoring recap here in the second half after coming out of the locker room 8-7. Manny, Zach Ryder from 3 yards out scores the touchdown. Then Cooley gets the 2-point conversion to make it 15-8. Kinder. Then Diaz to a wide open Garner. Tavarius Garner, 46 yards. The 2-point conversion fails, and that's where we are right now, 15-14. And a 4th and 4 for the Yellow Jackets. Inside handoff to Vickers, and Vickers down to the 30-yard line. That's going to be enough for a 1st down. So Vickers, that big bowling ball of a body, moving downhill. And 5'9", 210. And it's enough for a 1st down at the 30-yard line.
Well, I thought that Manny defense in the interior was going to be able to contain that interior inside run, but they're just so strong up front. They're getting good push by Edwards, Oliver, and LaBeouf. Still would like to see them come to the outside a little bit as they get closer to the end zone.
1st and 10, just outside the 30-yard line. Well, that was a busted play. The left side of the line moved, the right side didn't. Vickers didn't move forward, and
I don't think I've seen quite that frozen
I really
look. by Wells.
The left side moved. The whole right side didn't move. Vickers didn't move. Well, Wells Cooley was waiting for somebody to take the handoff.
Somebody take it.
Yeah.
Still got a yard. Not the way he wanted to do it, but.
2nd and 9. Ryder in motion. The give is to Vickers.
Boy, it just keeps his legs moving, pumping, moving, pumping.
Got about 4 yards. It'll bring up 3rd and just under 5 yards.
You know, the game over the last 10 or 15 years has been transformed so much by nutrition within the high school. Weight room traditions have changed a lot over the course of that time. These guys are just so strong.
Mm-hmm. Vickers has just look at him from here. He looks like the old Falcons running back Michael Turner with those giant thighs.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
Going to the wide side of the field. This is Bryce Baker all the way down to the 10-yard line. So a gain of 15 and another first down for Baker. Coming out of that wide side and taking the handoff and getting a 15-yard gain. First and goal right at the 10-yard line. Here's Vickers. Vickers keeping the legs going. And Wiseman hanging on for dear life. Vickers thought he was going to be able to run him over or shed him, and Wiseman had him around the waist and by the end was hanging on by the legs. But held him up long enough to get some help, and just a 2-yard gain for Vickers.
Well, this Manny team has been very good about helping out folks. Gang tackling and not giving up on the play.
Johnson back into the football game, bouncing out to the outside, trying to keep the legs going. He's going to get about 3 yards before being brought down. Chris Evans in on the tackle.
I think if he hadn't bounced off the backside of one of his blockers, he might have had an opportunity to cut to the outside and get to the end zone. But he tripped up just a little bit, slowed him down enough. His momentum slowed down enough where he just couldn't make the cut.
Down to a half minute to play in the third quarter on this 3rd and goal from the 4-yard line. Vickers back into the football game. And he gets the football, and he's going to be swallowed up right at the line of scrimmage. Nice job on the tackle by number 34, Darian Miller. And that'll bring up a 4th and goal from the 4-yard line. But first, that's going to bring us to the end of the third quarter. So each team gets a touchdown. Kinder gets the 2-point conversion. Manny does not. And so that is the difference in the football game, as the Yellow Jackets lead at 15-14 as we head to the fourth quarter, the final 12 minutes. Again, the Yellow Jackets looking to repeat as state champions. Came into this game as the 2 seed. Manny was the number 1 seed this year. How did they get here? We'll start with Manny. In the opening round, a 73-0 win over Homer. Then they beat Lake Arthur 41-6. St. James 28-14, and then in the semifinals 35-12 over Northeast. Meanwhile, Kinder, the 2 seed, 42-0 over North Caddo, then beat Pine 37-6, Springfield 42-14, and in the semifinals, an easy 3-touchdown victory over Sterlington, 35-14. So 1 versus 2, with Kinder looking to become the 2nd repeat champion in the Superdome today.
Well, this is a big defensive play now for the Manny Tigers. They've had some good plays so far, but this is the biggest of the night. If they can keep them out of the end zone here on 4th and goal from the 4, what a momentum shift this will be.
So they come to the line of scrimmage, needing 4 yards. All sorts of movement. Right on the right side of the offensive line, that was number 55, Colin Williams, jumping early.
Now it's going to be a pass. Almost assuredly it's going to be a pass.
Or do they maybe try the field goal now?
Maybe so. All right.
Well, I think Danny Hernandez is coming onto the field.
Well, opportunity for Danny.
Actually, not. It won't be Danny Hernandez. It'll be number 91, it looks like, or number 90, Raul Barrera. So it'll be Barrera that gets the kick attempt. Out of the hold of Mason Smith, Bryce Baker is the long snapper. Barrera from 27 yards out. Hold is down, the kick is up, and it's wide right. No good.
Big defensive stop for the Manny Tigers.
Barrera had plenty of leg on it, just pushed it wide right. And so the Tigers will take over on offense as they get the stop. And of course, the penalty pushing things back as well. And the Tigers will take over. Down 1 from their own 20-yard line.
I bet it's a heavy dose of Kentrell Maxey.
Xavier Diaz is going to take it himself, and he's going to get about 6 yards. Tackled out of bounds by Nicholas Boudreau.
Boy, I thought Maxey left a little bit early on the snap, but he was just keen on when the ball was snapped, and as soon as it moved, he was gone.
Hard to tell whether that was a design run by Diaz. It almost looked like he was thinking he was going to hand it off there and then just took off. So hard to tell whether that was designed run or not.
Well, Diaz has the ability to check the play. So if he sees something that the defense is giving him, he has the green light to go ahead and take it.
Diaz having a conversation with his center, Tyler Colston, on where to run this play, and it's going to be just short of the first down out to the 29-yard line.
A little reach play that time, a handoff stretch, and gets the first. Oh, it's going to be just shy, sorry.
Maxey getting it out to the 29-yard line. It'll bring up a 3rd and 1. Isaiah Smith relays the play call to Diaz, who relays it to the huddle. Diaz kind of runs into Carhey as he handed it off to him, just kind of ran into him. They didn't space it properly. I don't know if Carhey was supposed to go more outside, but he runs right into him. And Bryce Baker is there to make the tackle, dropping him for a loss. And I can't imagine they would go for it here on their own end with this much time left. And indeed, they will send out the punting unit.
Yeah, that definitely, nope. The line saying no, y'all get off the field. That's exactly what they said.
And now,
I'm the coach. I called for the punt team.
Tell you, that was funny. The offensive line says, get off the field. Coach Curtis is like, who's in charge?
right. He may agree with him.
Yeah,
after the case is made, but I think you run to the right side, and I think that's exactly what Carhey was supposed to do. He was on that handoff that was busted. He was supposed to take it another step to the outside and more of a stretch handoff. And
he thought it was a run right up the middle.
Yeah, he thought it was right off the Jonathan Miller's left side, the guard.
So it'll be 4th and 2. Manny in their own territory. Let's see what the decision is as they break the huddle here.
Well, number one, it's going to take some discipline on that offensive line not to move, because if you're trying to draw them off, which I don't necessarily think they're trying to do at this juncture, you got to stay disciplined. You've got to get the ball snapped.
The fans in yellow and black across the way making some noise, and Carhey is not even going to be close.
Nope.
Wrapped up in the backfield. Well done by number 44, Zach Ryder, as he came bursting through, and big stop for Kinder off of the big gamble by Manning.
Now you put the onus squarely back on the defense. And there's a cramp. Ryder looks like he's cramped up on his right calf. And boy.
Can't lose him. He's been a star on defense today from that rover position that you've talked about so much.
And he'll just stretch out. He'll get back in the game in a little bit.
So the Yellow Jackets with the ball at the Manny 28-yard line, but they will at least have to start this drive without Zach Ryder.
Talk about a short field.
Cooley hands to Johnson, and Johnson falls forward. Actually, Cooley kept it himself, and it might have been a fumble.
The beanbag came flying in.
Yep. Not sure if Cooley was trying to pull that back. Regardless, it doesn't hurt them. They gain a half yard. And it'll bring up 2nd and 9. Cooley back to throw under heavy pressure. Going to throw it downfield and has Arsenault, and that ball is caught at the 19-yard line. So nice job of Cooley keeping the play alive, and Arsenault coming back towards the football, gets the foot down, and it's going to bring up a 3rd and 1.
For a team that doesn't pass very much, they have been, when they have passed, they've been very effective. And these receivers understand their job. They've come back to the football, and Arsenault's done it twice. Come back to the football, make the catch, and concentrate on where the line is so that you can get your foot down.
Arsenault came back to the huddle. He got a little fist bump from Cooley.
Cooley did a good job to get out of the pocket.
Give us to Johnson. Johnson breaks through the initial wave and gets all the way to the 11-yard line. So first contact at the line of scrimmage, he exploded through that and got another 8 or 9 yards.
He's got to be up around 75 yards, I would expect. He had 48, I believe, at the end of the half.
Yeah. 1st and 10. They can get a first down at the 1-yard line. Cooley will give it to Johnson, and Johnson is met in the backfield. That's the big fellow, Newton. He came barreling through the Kinder defense and met Johnson in the backfield for a loss of a yard.
Just blew up Casey Edwards. Casey Edwards, who's such a good offensive guard on that right side, just got smoked.
I'll bring up a 2nd and 11 from the 12. And this time Newton got that body in motion and could not stop it as his inertia took him right across the line, and that's going to be a 5-yard pickup.
Boy, it's hard when you make a great play and you come right back and give it back to him.
So that moves it to the 7-yard line, and it'll bring up 2nd and 6 for Kinder. Clock starting up again, 8:35 to play in this football game. Cost to Johnson this time. He drops the football, but is able to fall on it right at the 7-yard line. Not a really good toss by Cooley. Kind of hit him almost in the hip.
Well, he's had a couple of those that have been a little bit off.
Still, Johnson probably should have had it. It was a little low, but Johnson just picked the head up, looking to see where the oncoming defense was coming from. But good wherewithal to fall on the football. Keep this drive alive on a 3rd and 6 from the 7-yard line.
They can get a first if they get it inside the 1. But this defense has been stout. They've done everything they've been asked to do tonight, especially on the last 2 drives.
Cooley rolling left, pressure coming. He's given up a lot of ground, and he is going to be sacked, but he was brought down with a face mask. I think this is going to be a face mask call, as Chris Evans got through, got the tackle, but I think the hand was up in the headgear.
The question is, wow.
Just a 5-yarder,
Yeah.
so very fortunate not to be a personal foul.
And it's from the point of the foul. A jailbreak, watch it here. And just got him right there.
Yep.
Ooh, that could have, that was close to
Yeah,
being a 15-yarder.
That wasn't just a tap, that was a grab of the face mask. So very fortunate for Chris Evans that does not get the personal foul. And now the ball all the way back to the 19-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 18.
They're going to throw it.
Arsenault to the near side of the field. And
a delay of game?
Delay of game. This is going to march it right back those 5 yards.
Wow, wow, wow.
So that'll make it a 3rd and 23.
The wheels falling off all of a sudden.
And if you're Kinder, you're probably not trying a field goal after missing a short one before, so you just want to get half of it here.
Right.
You know, get 12, 13 yards.
Yeah, if they could get across the 15 to near the 10-yard line, that would be
Coach Fuselier is going to call for a time. That is Kinder's 2nd timeout, so they've got 1 remaining. Manny has 2 timeouts as we're at 7:04. Gives us a chance to kind of check out the updated stats right now. Unofficially, Manny's got 231 yards and Kinder's got 190. 2 teams combined have only thrown 2 passes, or 4 passes total, 2 each. Rushing the ball fairly even though, 162 for Manny, 158 for Kinder. Taylor Johnson has 85 yards. James Carhey has 80 yards. Those are your 2 leaders. Kentrell Maxey also with 69 yards.
Well, you know, Maxey really came out in the first half and had a lot of yards early and really hasn't done as much as I expected him to do here in the second half. And he hasn't had a lot of opportunities.
3rd and 23. Like you said, get inside the 15, you'd feel pretty good about things. Cooley back to throw under heavy pressure again, and he is going to be drilled, and he fumbles the football. Recovered by the offensive lineman, number 54, Robert Brockhouse. But once again, it was a jailbreak break coming at Cooley, and now you got to pretty much punt the football.
I think you got to punt it. I think there's no question about it. You got to punt it, try to pin them deep, and force them to drive the distance.
Pepe Kennedy had the initial pressure, and then Curtis Woolard was the one that really hit him and forced the fumble.
Well, I'll tell you, both of the last 2 plays have broken down on the left side of the line. Brockhouse and LaBeouf have gotten bum rushed basically, but by Perry and Jamaria Holmes and even Alan Warfield getting in on the action from his cornerback spot.
Barrera in the punt. Diaz back to get it. It's snapped over Barrera's head. all the way back to the 30-yard line, and this is going to be booted downfield. And there's the flag. I was going to say that is not legal.
Yeah, it was a pretty heads-up play.
Yeah, it's a good idea, but that snap was a good 4 feet over Barrera's head. No chance for him to pull that one down. And a dramatic turn of events. They were at a goal-to-go situation, went backwards twice, had a penalty, and then they snap it over Barrera's head. And this is going to be a first down for Manny down near the 30-yard line once they mark off the penalty.
They had it 3rd and goal from the 4.
Let's see where they end up marking it.
Manny has some life, I can tell you that.
It will be right at the, actually, all the way back to the 25-yard line. So in 3 plays, Kinder went from the 4-yard line to turning the ball over at their own 25. That is unbelievable.
And they had been doing just about everything right until that last drive.
And Kinder's going to use their last timeout to try and regroup here, because this has to be a shock to the system. I mean, we're talking giving up 70 yards basically.
But it all started with the sack on the one play, and then another sack on 3rd down. So 2 third-down sacks after the penalty.
And just like that, Manny has themselves deep in Kinder territory at the 25-yard line. Not that they're going to kick a field goal most likely, but a field goal would give them the lead. But you know they're thinking 6 and then 8.
Jess Curtis said when we talked to him this week, he said, one thing we are not blessed with is a good soccer program. So we don't have a really solid field goal kicker.
First and 10 at the 25-yard line.
Sabine Parrish is on their feet here.
Diaz tosses it to Carter, and Carter's got room to run. Carter to the 15 and taken down at the 14-yard line. A saving tackle perhaps there by Don Charles Arsenault. Otherwise, A.J. Carter, the freshman running back, might have gone right to the corner for the touchdown.
They say this kid is the next Xavier Diaz, and they're going to run to the right side because they want to stay behind Garrett Thomas. That was one of our keys to victory. Let Garrett Thomas lead the way. And let me tell you something, on those few plays that they have done to the right, he has done just that.
Maxey and Carhee are behind Diaz from the 14-yard line. The handoff is to Carhee, and Carhee is going to go down to the 8-yard line.
They didn't need to run to the right that time because Garrett Thomas pulled and ran to the left. So whichever way Garrett Thomas is going, it's probably where the play is headed.
The second and about 4 from the 8-yard line. Manny looking for the go-ahead score. Diaz gives it to Maxey, and Maxey will spin down to the 5-yard line before he is brought down by Colin Williams. It's going to bring up a 3rd and less than a yard.
Well, they don't lose a step between 4 running backs. Maxey, Carhee, Gozi, who we haven't seen a ton of in the second half, and A.J. Carter. Carter started this drive off for them, and he's only a freshman.
3rd and a yard. Diaz gives to Maxey. Maxey's got a hole, and Maxey's into the end zone for a touchdown. Touchdown, Tigers. Maxey from 4 yards out.
great vision. He was going to bounce it to the outside, saw a split-second hole open, and made the cut to his left. And when he did, it shed the block and faked out the linebacker. He's into the end zone, and we've got a new leader in this football game.
20-15 as they get set to go for two. Diaz will keep it himself and fighting his way in for the two-point conversion. I thought he was going to cruise in there. Good speed on the edge, but Diaz lowers the shoulder. And it is 22-15 Manny with 4:37 to play in this football game. So after the cataclysmic turn of events for Kinder, having the ball at the 4-yard line, and a few plays later, they're giving the ball back to Manny at the 25, and Manny took advantage of their opportunity, running behind Maxey and Carhee and Carter. And Maxey gets the 4-yard touchdown. Diaz gets the two-point conversion, and the Tigers are back on top.
Diaz is holding his arm, and he had to lower that left shoulder and really put it in on the helmet of the defender. So maybe a stinger. Hopefully that's all it is, but they are checking him out. I hope it's not a more serious injury.
Right now, just kind of talking to him to see if he's okay, and he patted the trainer on the back as if to say, I'm all right. So hopefully we'll see Diaz back in there. Remember, he is their safety, free safety, so he'll want to get back out there as quickly as possible. Jared Ryder back to receive, along with Jordan Cordova, number 7. To take the kick from Pepe Kennedy. Line drive fielded by Cordova. Cordova at the 35 and will go down at the 38-yard line. And by the way, Diaz hopped off the bench and is running back onto the field. So
yeah, I didn't think it was going to take long. But he was definitely feeling that left shoulder a little bit.
Well, like you said, no doubt, he had to lower that left shoulder to get into the end zone for that two-point conversion.
4.5 minutes to play here in the state championship game for 2A in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome.
Let's see if Kinder can stabilize here on offense a little bit. Hand off to Baker, and Baker's going to bounce outside. He'll get about 4 yards on the play. So Bryce Baker, the senior wide back linebacker, gets about 3 yards on the play. Bring up 2nd and 7. We'll see how Kinder regroups after what has to be a shocking last 4 minutes for them. On the verge of going up, on the verge of going up 8 points, and suddenly they're down 7 points. And this is Johnson falling forward for a gain of about 5 to the 46-yard line.
I think they're going to give you a heavy dose of Johnson up the middle because, well, first, one, they haven't really stopped him all night. There were some times in the second quarter where it looked like they had finally made some adjustments to clog the interior, but this offensive line has done a good job of blowing Newton off the ball for the most part, except when I say that, he blows up the play.
Didn't do it that time as Johnson stopped before he got to the line of scrimmage, and that's going to bring up a 4th down.
I can tell you what they're not going to do if they can help it, and that's passing. Because the offensive line is a much, much better run-blocking team, offensive line, than they are pass-blocking offensive line. Mainly because they just don't do it very often.
There we go, 4th and a long 1. Cooley scanning the defense. They have 3 on the play clock. They better hurry. Barely get it off. Cooley's going to try and fall forward. Judging by that far side official, I think they've got the 1st down. It is going to be really close. The near side official looks like he's marking it a little shorter. And I think this is going to be short by
Yep.
the near side official.
Wow.
Well, that far side official looked like he had given Cooley at least another half yard. But this is going to go over to Manny. And now, here's where using all those timeouts hurts. Now they just have the one timeout.
Right.
They are going to measure it.
May have been a little premature, but I think you're right. I don't think he got it. Or at least he didn't get it by the spot.
It is going to be about 5 inches short as Diaz leans in to make sure. And now, with just one timeout, if Manny can get a couple of first downs, they will put this football game away. The Kinder defense going to have to come up with a big stop right here, right now. First and 10 from the 47-yard line. Diaz will give to Carhe. Carhe breaking through and all the way down to the 39-yard line, an 8-yard gain on first down.
The one problem with the pressure defense that Kinder uses is the fact that they have a tendency to overrun the play, and that's what happened that time. They sent everybody even on the edge, and when they did that, they overran the play, opening up a big hole up the middle, and Manny is just taking advantage of them.
They're going to use a great deal of the clock here, although the play clock down to 10. They may have to spend a timeout here if they don't get to the line of scrimmage quickly. Play clock at 3, at 2. They're not going to get it off. Oh, they do barely get it off, and Maxey is going to fall forward to the first down. The clock had just hit 0 as they snapped it.
It's one thing to spend a little time at the line of scrimmage. It's another thing to spend a lot of time in the huddle.
Right. So first down, and again, Kinder just the one timeout to stop the clock. Clock will run now, and they won't have to snap this till it's under 2 minutes.
But it's down to 14 seconds. Let's get the play in, Manny. Now they're doing a little bit better job of it. 10 seconds as they line up. Still not a lot of time.
Diaz checks the clock. Hands to Maxey. Maxey's going to be stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Good job by Arsenault breaking through there to make the hit on Maxey.
Clock will continue to run. One more play, and I expect they'll have to call a timeout. The key is going to make sure that that penetration doesn't get them and disrupt that handoff, as it almost did that time. Bounce it outside is what I would do if I were Manny at this point. Keep it away from the interior. They're getting some penetration up the middle.
Diaz bobbles the snap, able to get it to Maxey, and Maxey breaks through to the 30-yard line. Kinder not going to use that timeout yet.
I don't know what you're waiting for myself. Well, I guess you need to wait for the fourth down. But the clock is rolling fast.
Play clock is at 20.
So they can take it all the way down to almost 30 seconds, 33 seconds.
And they just corrected it. See, I thought Kinder had already used all 3 timeouts, and they just now
okay,
corrected
they don't have another. That's why they haven't used it.
Okay, that's what I had thought they had used all 3 timeouts, and it doesn't matter as Maxey breaks through for the first down, and that is going to do it. Look at the wild celebration on the near sideline, and the folks from Manny clad in red and black, hugging in the stands, celebrating on the sidelines as the final 25 seconds is going to run off. Yeah, we were both paying attention to that far side scoreboard, which had Kinder with the 1 timeout, but I had thought they had used it earlier, the final timeout earlier, and that was the case. They got to run one more play, and it's going to be a sweet kneel down for Diaz, and Manny is the state champions for 2A for the year 2014. getting redemption after losing to Kinder in the state championship game a year ago. They get the win in a hard-fought, very entertaining football game.
One of the best we've seen all season long.
Unbelievable twists and turns in this football game. But again, it all comes down to Kinder has the ball second and goal at the 4-yard line. They get a penalty, then they get a sack, then they get another sack, and as they dive into the end zone in celebration, on the Manny sideline, the Kinder folks have to be stunned, but getting back to it, so then it's 4th down, they have to punt, it's snapped over Barrera's head. Manny gets a short field at the 25-yard line, and they take advantage. And now the Manny players scurrying back because they realize they had forgotten to shake hands.
Right. And it's a nice scene at the middle of the field where the guys are hugging and not just shaking hands. It's a little bit more intense than that, and it was a hard-fought football game. A well-played football game for the most part. Both teams played within themselves. Not very many penalties. Of course, there were a couple that hurt each team. I mean, Manny had an opportunity to be up a touchdown when they got called back on a penalty. And then, of course, you went through the Kinder issues, and they had the ball 2nd and goal to go at the 4. But it's what we expected. Not a lot of passing, and just hard smash-mouth football.
Quick recap of the scoring. It all started in the first half when Kinder, Wells Cooley hits Don Charles Arsenault for a 24-yard touchdown, made it 7-0. Then Xavier Diaz to his brother Isaiah Smith, a 24-yard strike. They get the 2-point conversion on a Diaz to Hebert, and it was 8-7 Manning. Then Zach Ryder, a 3-yard touchdown run. Cooley takes in the 2-point conversion, 15-8 Kinder. Diaz would answer with a bomb to Tavarius Garner. They do not get the 2-point conversion. It was still 15-14 Kinder. Kinder misses a short field goal that would have made at a 4-point lead. They get the ball back. As we mentioned earlier, they get all the way into a goal-to-goal situation. Can't punch it in. Have a series of miscues, and Manny takes advantage with a Kentrell Maxey 4-yard touchdown run. Xavier Diaz takes in the 2-point conversion, and that got us to our final score of 22-15. And now it's all about getting the hardware for Manny, who a year ago was on the other side of things, and this has got to be sweet redemption for them to get the state title.
All right, now it's time for our discussion of MVPs for both of these teams.
I'm going to go with Diaz for Manny.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple touchdown passes, a 2-point conversion, made some plays on defense. He didn't have the 26 tackles he had last year, but
and I think it's Taylor. I think it's Taylor Johnson.
Yeah,
for Kinder.
Yeah, it's got to be.
I think it's got to be.
92 yards today for Johnson. He was the leader for Kinder. The leader for Manny was Kentrell Maxey. That touchdown that 4-yard touchdown got him to 96 yards, and James Carhey had 93 yards.
So that'll be, if it is Diaz, we don't have a vote, but if it is Diaz, then it'll be a second MVP and his first championship. I think he'd give all the MVPs back in the world if he can have 2 rings on one on each hand.
All right, well, let's head down to the floor for the presentation. Good game for Zach Ryder. Both sides of the football got the touchdown run, so
Yep.
deserving.
Absolutely. He'd give it back for another ring too, I guarantee.
Absolutely.
The next award is the All-State Sugar Bowl Outstanding Player for Manning High School, as selected by the working media of the Prep Classic. Outstanding player for the Tigers, number 2, Xavier Knight.
Well, we got 1 out of 4. 1 out of 4.
Diaz gets most outstanding player for the 2nd straight year, but this time he's on the winning side.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll get a nice big ring in a couple of weeks. You know what is going to be interesting after we.
Sugar Bowl LHSAA State Championship Trophy, Manning High School.
Manny wins the state championship. What is interesting, we should have mentioned during the game, is Garrett Thomas is likely to enroll early in Texas. So this is maybe his last couple of weeks of high school period.
Wow. Yeah, I'm sure Texas will be excited to have him, and he goes out a winner at Manning High School. So as the Tigers hold the championship trophy, we say congratulations to them. Congratulations to Haynesville earlier today on state titles, and still 3 more state title games tomorrow here at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. For our producer Sean Davis, our spotter Travis Hose, and our stat man Sean Champagne, and for Jimmy Frederick, Jimmy, it's been a tremendous year all year.
It's been fun, my friend.
If we're together again next year, I'm buying you a Christmas gift of a case of vitamin C, so I don't have to listen to you cough all year.
Man, I tell you, I hope that's true.
But that's it. Paul Boron saying so long from the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Manny has won the state 2A final by a score of 22-15. We thank you for joining us on the NFHS Network.